My husband and I have always been the picture perfect family. It has always been perfect, at times too perfect. I should have trusted my gut when I felt that something was wrong. I didn't, and here I am today without anything left. Redditors, I have been among you guys, being a fellow Redditor and reading about various people and their life stories and their problems. But today, I am on the opposite end sharing my story. I'm not exactly here for advice, it's mostly to vent, to share it all because lately I've been feeling lonelier than usual. My 8 years long marriage got ruined while everyone, including my own family, supported him. Now they're regretting their choice and are back, but it doesn't matter to me anymore. Once trust is broken, it can never be completely fixed again. And what my own family did was beyond anything I had expected. I've been hurt and feeling so lonely. So I want to share my situation with strangers so that I can get a perspective from a third person. I believe that it's important for my growth. Plus, I need people to say that I wasn't wrong in what I did. Coming to how it all started, like I already mentioned, my husband and I looked like the perfect couple. He was the ideal husband, the perfect father, the perfect brother in law, and the perfect son in law. He was always my family's favorite. For a long time, I enjoyed that. I used to rely on him for various things. That's normal when you're married to somebody for 8 years. Every time my husband and I argued, our families would somehow get involved, and my parents would always support him. This never bothered me for a long time because arguments were rare in our household. That is, until it became a habit, a daily part of our everyday routine. And no matter what the situation was, I was always labeled as someone who was acting crazy and stupid. I was given the tag of overreacting all the time by my own family. The situation worsened to the level that my parents started believing him in about everything. They would trust him to get things done instead of their daughter. It felt very weird to me, but I never said a word. And then started the drama of my husband's best friend. My husband had other female friends, and I was always okay with that. But this specific so called best friend gave me a weird vibe. I did not know how to explain it until I caught her passing sly remarks or getting too touchy with my husband. So I tried to talk to my husband regarding this. Now, this was supposed to be a personal matter, but this got out of hand as well, and our entire family was involved. No one tried to understand what I was saying, and as usual, I was labeled as the crazy, suspicious, and insecure wife. This same situation happened 3 times with different women, and after that, I got a reputation for overreacting when in all reality, I was getting an uncomfortable vibe regarding all of these situations. Little did I know that this was all part of a big, nasty plot against me. Soon, the big revelation came in. My husband was having an affair. His mistress lived abroad and they were in a relationship for more than 3 years. And my husband's plot to act like the perfect son in law was so that he could take away all my parents' money. I had no idea about any of this until I got to know that my parents had put their inheritance under his name instead of their daughter's. That's the amount of trust they had in him versus me. Our marriage of 8 long years was suddenly over in front of my eyes. Everything perfect was a well crafted lie, something I realized much later. It was so traumatic for me to deal with it all by myself. My husband pretended like I was overreacting as usual, and he was the victim here because I, his wife, was crazy and delusional and very suspicious, in his words. My parents supported him instead of hearing from their daughter. Even my friends were under his spell, and I found myself in a position where no one was talking to me or trying to understand my situation. So I picked myself up, took care of myself, and built myself up. It was not easy, but I did it. I took care of myself. I was all alone. I tried contacting so many people, but no one was there besides me. Nobody. That's until fast forward to just 4 months later, my parents reached out to me, telling me that they made a huge mistake by making my husband the sole owner of the inheritance. I was hurt by my parents' behavior and I couldn't forgive it all or forget any of it. In just 4 months, my husband showed his real colors and my parents were back to ask for my help. But I couldn't just let go of their past behavior. It was too much for me to handle. Imagine how difficult it would be to pick yourself up as you're all alone, only to find the same people who left you begging you for help. That was the situation. I straight away told them that I wouldn't help them in any way. Of course, my parents were not too pleased to hear that. They told me that just a month after everything, he announced that he was going to move in with his mistress and took away all the money available, leaving my parents all broke. They let him handle their finances, and now they were left with nothing. As my husband's true nature was in front of everyone, they finally decided to support me. Now, we were separated and not divorced yet. So I have filed for a divorce on the grounds of adultery and mental harassment. My family wanted to put in the label of a scammer as well, but the lawyer said that they had voluntarily named him as their heir, so nothing could be done on that front. I have tried helping my family financially, but I told them that I would not forgive them. I will only help them get on their feet because they are my parents after all. But they must figure something out on their own because it's not possible for me to forever take care of them financially. I cannot and will not forgive them. Update 1. Hey guys, I'm here to clear my mind. I'm just back from court and we will be officially divorced within a couple of weeks. My ex-husband dared to bring his mistress over to our old house. She's currently living over there in our bedroom. I was supposed to go there to pack my things, but I can't. Not while she's there. I feel like my husband is being cruel unnecessarily. Recently, my dad had a huge argument with him. My parents tried to confront him regarding the inheritance thing, and he just shrugged, behaving like it wasn't a big deal, and went ahead to even say that the money was not that large to create drama over. At this point, I just want to be done with all these people and stay out of the drama. This is badly affecting my mental health. My parents are additionally causing too much stress. The more I'm trying to keep my spirits up and not think about these things, the more they're bringing it up again and again. Their apology was also all for the show because their actions are not changed at all. My decision about not forgiving them doesn't even matter anymore. The other day, my mom said that I should have been more careful and should have known that my ex-husband was cheating. How on earth was I to understand that? This is a very toxic environment for me and nothing is going fine right now. Update 2. Hi there. I have some interesting information to share today. I had a very weird conversation with my ex's mistress. As it turns out, she was not even aware of our marriage and the inheritance money or how serious everything was. Apparently, she was being told that my husband and I were separated and there were a lot of issues between us. She had zero idea that this man was pretending to be my amazing husband, all the while cheating on me. The reason why she was here was that she threatened to end the relationship if he didn't let her come here to see everything by herself. As she was living abroad, she had no idea about his lies. She would not know anything if not for this accidental conversation. I informed my husband that I would send someone to collect my things. Later on, after much thought, I decided to go myself and I didn't say anything to my husband regarding this. I had expected him to be present, but I was greeted by his oblivious girlfriend. After our conversation, she was really confused and angry and apologized to me. She told me that she never wanted to be a homewrecker and called my ex-husband over to clarify it all. And boy, he was confused and scared about facing his ex-wife and present girlfriend. Of course, he had nothing to say and his lies got proven very easily. I took my things and left the place with her screaming at my ex. I went back home and shared all of these with my friends. I will sound mean, but I enjoyed listening to her screaming at my ex. It probably gave me some sense of karma. Update 3. Thank you for the comments. They gave me so much hope. I love Reddit. So, first things first, an ex husband got dumped by his mistress, girlfriend. As it turns out, she was being honest about not knowing anything. She was furious at him for lying and broke their relationship off. Everyone in our circle is aware of what he has done, so he is getting judged, and I am all here for it. As for my parents, I recently argued with them and I clarified that their attitude was only causing more problems for me and affecting my mental health. A few people have suggested family therapy, and I am looking forward to that. Apart from these, life is slowly getting back to normal as it can be after everything that happened. I can't thank you guys enough for listening and commenting. That would be all for now. Bye. NTA, and I can just say I love how you had an interaction with the other woman. As for your family, they kind of do deserve it all, everything that is happening to them. You are being really nice to them after everything. Don't doubt yourself. NTA and your husband is such a jerk. Plus your family, you're better off without them. I appreciate you trying to still be so accepting. I could never be. But to each their own. You're a good person. Next story. I, 33, male, share one child, 6, female, with my wife, 36, female. She has another daughter, 13, female, that lives with us full time. We also have custody of our niece, 15, female. The teens are each other's best friends. They share a large bedroom, which was done at their request. The dynamic here is pretty much mom and youngest against the teens, with me being the referee between everyone. My wife has taught the youngest that she can blame others for her actions to avoid consequences. She just says the word, and one of the teens will get punished without question. There's no doubt. She is my wife's favorite. I love her, but she's becoming nothing more than an entitled brat. As just a mere example, my wife and I had an appointment we both needed to attend. When we came back, it was apparent the pool had been used. They're not allowed to swim while we aren't home. As the youngest divulged, "Mommy, I was in my room coloring. I never went swimming." The teen said that was not true. She had gone swimming as well. Only the teens were punished. My wife refused to give the youngest any type of consequence. I later found her wet swimming suit hidden in the garage. My wife and I argued. I felt strongly she needed to not only be punished for swimming, but also for lying. After a relentless disagreement, I was silenced as she gave the youngest a very minimal consequence. The lying, blaming, and favoritism ultimately caused the teens to act out, understandably. Most of their consequences are done by giving more chores, specifically the chores the 6-year-old has. Or as recently, they were removed from music lessons as a consequence. I believe they're so frustrated they don't even care when they verbally attack their mother after her unfair treatment towards them. After all, they already get blamed and punished for things they don't even do. From my perspective, lashing out gives them a release. We've had countless tiring arguments. She's either not seeing her faults or we'd agreed to do this and that, but it was never actually done. I decided to write her a performance review as a stay-at-home mom. Her areas in need of improvement, well, it was a lot. But I touched on how she needs to listen better, stop being biased, be fair in all her decisions, stop making rash decisions without taking all 3 kids into consideration. I recommended her to give each child the same amount of one-on-one alone time to speak or just be with one another. So it wouldn't be an entirely slap to her face. I gave her accolades on her strong points for other areas aside from parenting. I guess I felt this would work best because I could organize my thoughts on paper without her interjecting. However, it quickly backfired in my face. She was quiet the first hour after I handed it in to her. Then she completely exploded on me, said if we're going to do this type of shit, she'll get a private bank account and take half my paycheck every week. She further said the review was abusive and a manipulative sexist move. AITA? Are you her employer? Because employers give performance reviews. Partners do not give performance reviews. Your family, including yourself, needs therapy. A lot of therapy. A lot of therapy. YTA. ESH. What do you do when your boss gives you a shit performance review or PIP? That's right, you plan your exit. Also, who give their spouse a performance review? Writing things out or having notes isn't a bad idea, but handing the paper to them like you're their unhappy boss was throwing jet fuel on the problem. Maybe consider couples counseling or something. ESH, because your wife should listen to the teens more, but more you for one, the performance and review, and two, for having the idea that a 6-year-old should face the same consequences as two teens for something like swimming unsupervised. The teens have the critical thinking skills to make that decision. The 6-year-old, yay, I get to go swimming. Presumably the teens were in charge of their younger sibling. They instigated the behavior and, yes, should have more severe consequences. It is not entitled brat behavior for a 6-year-old to join her sibling swimming and then try to hide the evidence or even lie about it once it becomes clear they did something wrong. It's developmentally normal. The performance review was a step too far, and your wife is right. If she is your employee, then you owe her years of pay. Next story. I, 29, male, am a super social guy at work. We used to have a really cold, unwelcoming office, and my team, 4 of us altogether, were brought on to improve morale. So I'm not saying that to brag. It's literally part of my job description, organizing events, fielding complaints and relationship dynamics, just generally making sure everyone is comfortable and happy. I'd like to say I'm pretty darn well liked and haven't seen any evidence to the contrary yet. And this has spilled over into my life in general, and I'm one of those always smiling types overall. Reason I said this is because my colleagues have recently asked if I have a problem with our newest starter, female, 31. She works in sales and is a little quiet, most likely because she's new, but ostensibly nice from what I hear. I've not got anything against her personally per se, but she's allegedly mentioned to my team, but not me, that she doesn't get invited to outside of work events, non-official functions, parties, dinners, etc. She's looped into all official events, OFC, or invited out to lunch at all and spends a lot of time alone in and around the office. I admit to giving her a wide berth, but that is just because during her first week before we'd been introduced, I was getting onto the elevator and noticed someone had dropped a key card in the lobby. I recognized her face and approached her at her desk. When I got to our floor, she looked apprehensive about me approaching, so I slapped on a smile and went to speak. I just got out and, excuse me, but I think, before she interrupted with what sounded like a pre prepared speech about how she wants to keep work and personal life separate and didn't wish to engage unless it was work related. I didn't say anything and just placed her card on her desk and left it at that. She approached me at lunch that day to apologize and said she thought I was asking her out, but did so in front of a crowd of people to whom I then had to explain myself. Overall, she made me uncomfortable and feel guilty for being friendly, so I tend to follow her rules and only send her emails in group threads. But seeing as I'm something of a social hub in, outside of work, this had apparently had a knock-on effect of others kind of distancing themselves too. So AITA for following her ROE. P.S. I have a partner of 4 years who works with us in a different department. NTA. She's already made things weird and shown that she misinterprets completely innocuous interactions. I don't blame you at all for giving her a bit of a swerve. I think most people have a pre-prepped, thanks but no thanks response for being asked out, but you do need to wait for the person to ask in the first place before launching into it. NTA. She said she was there for work and not to entertain social whims. She made it weird and she's getting what she asked for. If she hadn't made her clumsy apology so awkward and public, you wouldn't have been grilled to relay every detail of that initial interaction, and the team wouldn't have ever known she expressed this sentiment. It's on her to fix. And frankly, whining to others about it isn't such a hot look either. Next story. For context, I'm 24, male, and my brother Luke, 31, male, his wife Emma, 28, female, and their son Kyle, 4 months, moved to my city last year because Emma got a new job. They would occasionally ask me to watch Kyle because I work from home with very flexible hours. I personally do not like kids at all, but I was happy to do it at the time because I wanted to help them. It was not that often, maybe once or twice every 2 weeks, and Kyle was very well behaved. Now, the issue started near the end of last year when Luke decided to change careers. He was previously working remotely as well. His new job required him to go to work a lot more often and make substantially less money. This left them depending on me more and more to take care of Kyle. It went from once or twice every 2 weeks to around 3 days out of the week. To make matters worse, Kyle's behavior changed drastically. To be completely honest, I can barely stand the kid anymore, constantly running around and screaming while I'm trying to work and just overall being a little shit. My sister-in-law Emma was over the other day picking up Kyle and made some comments about getting rid of some of the dangerous furniture in my house, like tables with glass edges and stuff, so that my home is safer for their son, and made a joke about baby-proofing my house because they're planning to have a daughter. This pissed me off, but I didn't say anything. The situation hit a breaking point last Friday when I was talking about the 1.5 week long trip I was going on with my girlfriend on the 15th. Me and my girlfriend like to travel somewhere nice at least once a month. We could not the past couple of months because of Kyle, but I promised my girlfriend we would go somewhere exotic for Valentine's. Upon hearing this, they got pretty mad, saying who was going to take care of Kyle, that I need to stop these childish trips, and that I need to take more responsibility because I'm an uncle now. I'm not going to lie. After hearing this, I freaking snapped. I said that their demon child isn't my responsibility, and I'm not just going to give up my life because they screwed without a condom. It got pretty obscene from there, and some horrible things were said. They left, and we are no longer on speaking terms. My parents and Emma's parents are on their side and extremely angry at me for refusing to pull my weight. My parents said that this is my duty and I should be sacrificing everything to help them. It's honestly got me really down, and I've cried my eyes pretty much every day since seeing those messages from my family. I'm starting to wonder if I really should be taking more responsibility. AITA for choosing my trips over my brother and nephew? NTA, the childcare discussion should have happened before your brother made his career change, and should have included you since they were planning on relying on you more. Also, do they ever pay you for this? Edit to add. I will say one thing that's really important here is don't blame Kyle. You called him a demon child, and that doesn't sit well with me due to the extenuating circumstances. He's a kid, and likely a kid going through a rough time due to the changes his parents are making. Absolutely blame your brother and sister-in-law for bad parenting. NTA, your family are guilting you because none of them can be asked to take care of the son either. Sorry this is happening to you, OP, but stand your ground. You're 100% right. Sounds like your brother and sister-in-law have become entitled to your help and forgotten what it's like to be solely responsible for your kid. So they've begun to rely on your help. But as you so rightfully pointed out, this is totally a them problem. Your parents are probably joining in because they know if you stop looking after altogether, they'll be relied on a lot more. Also, regarding your outburst, yeah, maybe not the best way to react, but they pushed you to breaking point and you snapped. Also, they were being rude and unreasonable in their expectations, so I don't expect you to respond 100% calmly and rationally either. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.